What's up fish friends, it's Alex here, your friendly reef dog, and today I'm going to tell you my first impressions of the Deltec 600i protein skimmer. Now this isn't a sponsored video, I bought the skimmer with my own money, and when I went looking for it I found there wasn't really that much information out there, so I've decided to do a really proper job with a first impressions review, and then I'm going to follow up in 6 months time with a long-termer. Now if this is your first time at the channel, I put out a video every week with tips on how to set up and maintain an awesome reef tank. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on anything. Right, let's take a look. Now my first impressions of the Deltec 600i as I took it out of the box were rather underwhelming. The lettering stickers are cheap looking with one already peeling away in the centre, and my water level sticker was rubbing off and looks pretty low quality. The plastic the skimmer is made of feels really cheap and light, unlike say a Nios, which is made of a heavy solid feeling acrylic. And with the Deltec there are also rough finishes in places, like at the base, presumably where it's come out of its mould. The neck feels cheap and low quality too, as does the lid, both of which are made from a tacky textured material, as I can demonstrate with the classic tap and scratch test. I'm not sure that'll make a difference to performance, but if you got your hands on this in the shop, you'd probably turn your nose up at it. And I expect better build quality from a German company. Almost all skimmers have a diffuser plate that sits above the pump, as I'm demonstrating on this Nios Quantum 220, but the Deltec doesn't have that. I can't profess to know the science behind the diffuser plate, but I do find it odd that Deltec has done away with it. That said, that's been the way Deltec have designed their skimmers for years, so maybe this is a perfected flaw, like a Porsche with an engine in the back. And my last gripe is that it doesn't have a drain pipe and tap like its bigger brother the 1000i. There is space for one, and it would probably be easy to DIY one if that's a deal breaker, but it's a shame they didn't include it as standard. But when you get past those initial downsides, it does have a number of redeeming features. In years gone by, the only question you would ask when looking for a skimmer was, which pulls out the most fish poo? And while that's still the most important consideration, skimmer manufacturers are starting to innovate and develop some really useful features. You just need to take a look at the MaxSpec Air Aqua Duo for an idea of what I'm talking about. For a start, the Deltec has a water level tube so you can see where the water is sitting inside the skimmer, and that combined with markers for minimum and maximum height makes it really easy to dial it in when you're setting it up. You just turn the water level dial until it's at the height you want, higher will give you a wet skim and lower will give you a dry skim. Then you turn the pump up slowly to about 50% over the course of 48 hours and then you're set. The water level tube should also make tuning it easier in 6 months time when the skimmer goes crazy for no apparent reason, the way skimmers tend to do. Without this it's hard to see how much difference it makes when you're turning the screw, but with a water level tube you can instantly see how much the water level drops as you turn the screw. It also has an elbow adapter on the air inlet tube that points in the direction of the water level tube. So if the skimmer overflows for whatever reason, like if a snail gets stuck in the pump inlet, or you forget to turn the skimmer off before you turn your return pump off, the skimmer cup won't fill with water, and that for me is an absolutely awesome feature. When that's happened on my previous skimmers, it's made my auto top off go crazy, and I have to pour the water in the skimmer cup away, which means my salinity in my aquarium changes, albeit only slightly. To be honest, that's probably not something to worry about, but it plays on my OCD and it drives me round the bend. The Deltec also has a DC pump which has a number of benefits itself. First and foremost, it's quiet. I've had AC powered skimmers before that are quiet, but this is about as quiet a skimmer as I've ever heard. It's not quite silent, but I can't hear it over my Vectra L1 pump, or the fan on my Kessel A360, or outside the sump for that matter. And while AC pumps can be quiet, if an AC powered skimmer isn't set up properly, it can be very vibrational and noisy, and extremely difficult to put right. DC pumps are also adjustable, which help make setting up the Deltec nice and easy. It should also help in the months and years ahead if the skimmer needs adjusting. And the final bonus is that the body is held together by large thumb screws, which means taking it apart for cleaning should be easy peasy. Now I've only had it for a week, so it's too early to say how well it'll do fish poo wise, but the early signs are very encouraging, and it's doing significantly better than my last skimmer had been recently. As you can see from this shot, it had gone nice and dark within 36 hours. I'm running it on a tank of around 400 litres after displacement, with an auto filter roller and a large algae bed. All in all then, despite the build quality, I really like this skimmer so far. I've always found adjusting skimmers to be a nightmare, and this feels really easy to set up and adjust. It's also dead quiet, which is just so important for a skimmer, and the early signs are that it will pull out plenty of crud and should be easy to clean. But I'll do another video in 6 months time with my long term thoughts, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out, and while you're at it, give me a thumbs up if you found the video useful.